Hey there, I'm Steve, and welcome to Jamson Entertainment. Today we're talking about Godzilla, the 2015 film.
Spoiler alert! You've been warned.
Recently rewatching it, there's quite a few similarities between this and the 1998 version? 99? The one that was set in New York and I liked as a kid, and now I just know that it's but it is much better than the one that came out in the 90s. For one, Godzilla actually looks more like Godzilla than just a mutated iguana. But this is not a comparison video, this is a review of the 2015 version. There are a bunch of Easter eggs sprinkled through this movie. Unfortunately, I did not catch all of them. I only noticed a few of them. The character played by Ken Watanabe is Dr. Serizawa, just like in the original movie. There's also a newspaper clipping with the year 1954 on it. That's the year that the original came out. Godzilla's design is very reminiscent of the original. Unfortunately, it's not a guy in a rubber suit. That would have been amazing. They go with CGI, and the CGI looks pretty good, especially when he gets up close. Normally, it looks worse when you get up close, but in this instance, when you see Godzilla further away, you can tell that there's nothing there, but when you get up close, they get into a lot of detail, and it looks pretty good. And the last Easter egg I was able to find was it ends very similarly to the original Godzilla movie, the sea with the rising sun. Strangely enough, the first act of this movie probably has the best parts of the movie in it, and those are the parts that have no Godzilla in them. And the reason why the first act is so good is because it has Bryan Cranston in it. He was carrying this movie until, unfortunately, they killed his character. And no one seems to know why they killed his character. Having Ken Watanabe in here was fine and all, being Dr. Serizawa, but Bryan Cranston's character is closer to Dr. Serizawa from the original than Ken Watanabe's character, Dr. Serizawa, is in this one. Dr. Serizawa in this version doesn't really do much of anything. I mean, he's more or less just a character for exposition, which is okay, and he's the one that suggests that just let Godzilla take care of everything. But other than that, his character doesn't really contribute much at all. It's Bryan Cranston's character that contributes the most, and they kill him off. The story after Bryan Cranston follows his son, forgive me, I don't know the actor's name, but the character's name is Ford, and I think the only reason why they named him Ford, that's about the only way he stands out. He's named after a car company. Other than that, he's pretty dull as a character. He plays a soldier, and you could mistake him for any soldier in the movie. The only other person I know in this film is Elizabeth Olsen, and she's Scarlet Witch from the Marvel movies, but she plays an even smaller role, and she wasn't really well known at this point. This is a few years before Age of Ultron. Alright, so the basic premise of this movie is it starts in the 90s in Japan with Bryan Cranston and his family. Him and his wife are both, I believe Cranston's an engineer. I think his wife is also an engineer, but they're both in administrative positions at this nuclear power plant in Japan. And what everyone thinks to be a tsunami isn't. It's this creature that destroys the nuclear power plant, but you don't learn that until about 20 minutes or so into the movie. And the US government calls them MUTOs, massive unidentified terrestrial organisms. The first one to emerge is a male, and it flies. It collects all the nuclear waste or bombs that it can find, and it takes it to the female MUTO that's over on the mainland in America. And like in nature, sometimes the female is bigger. So this female towers over the male MUTO, and it doesn't fly. The MUTOs are there mating and breeding simply so they can be a nuisance and a reason for humans to want to kill them, and a reason for Godzilla to come and destroy them. At a little over an hour into the film, you finally get to see Godzilla. And what do? They show him for, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds, and they cut away from him.
Boring humans.
Hey, don't you know I'm the reason people came to the movies?
And then you get to see the fight between Godzilla and the Mutos from the main character's son's perspective, which his perspective is watching it on the news. I don't know why they would do that. Just show them fighting. The audience is already removed enough that they're watching something. They shouldn't be watching something. And that's the main problem with this film, is whenever it gets to action scenes with the monsters, it normally cuts away from them. And if they do hold on them for any length of time, it's like maybe 3 minutes. Although thankfully they don't short us on the final kill that Godzilla gets. And both ways he kills the Mutos are pretty cool. Like the first one, he kills the flyer by whipping his tail and knocking it into a building. And then probably the kill of that year is the way he kills the second one. He goes to use his atomic breath, opens up the second one's mouth and breathes down it and decapitates it. It's pretty cool. If you were to go see it in theaters when it came out, that would be the price of admission. So those are my quick thoughts on Godzilla, the 2015 version. It's an okay movie. They could have done a better job. And I want to talk about, even though I have a review of Kong Skull Island, I want to talk about that a little and possible what's going to happen in Godzilla King of the Monsters. I know it's out already. I still need to see it, but I want to talk about it just a little bit. Kong Skull Island, they kind of took a step forward, but then took a step back. Even though I like Kong Skull Island more than I do Godzilla, it took a step forward and took a step back in the way that they get to Kong much sooner, within like the first 30, maybe 40 minutes or so. But they take a step back by setting it in the past. I have no idea why they would set it in the past, other than the fact that in Kong Skull Island, they mention that Kong is still growing. He's only about, I don't know, 50 feet tall or so, it's like something like that. Godzilla in this continuity is like, I think 110 feet or more. Well, no, I think he's 100 meters. That's way more than 100 feet. I think that's 300 feet tall. And then Kong, I guess that means Kong is about 100 feet tall in Kong Skull Island. I think those are the numbers. I'll put them up. So these are their actual sizes right now. But the other baffling thing about the franchise so far is, why not have Godzilla vs. Kong as a second film? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so having Godzilla King of the Monsters as a second film, and then Godzilla vs. Kong, I don't know how they're going to pull it off, because from the trailers alone, you see Godzilla fighting Mothra, Rodan, Ghidorah. And we know there's Godzilla vs. Kong coming out, so we can guess that Godzilla's going to come out on top. So if he's going to take down all these other kaijus, what match is Kong for Godzilla? I personally think Godzilla would win every single time, simply because atomic breath, tail. He's got 2 extra weapons that Kong doesn't have. Kong has strength. That's about it from what I can gather. It would have been better if they did Godzilla vs. Kong as a second film, and then Godzilla and Kong can team up for King of the Monsters. That's what the title of the third film should have been. Then it's like, oh, what's going to happen? But I'm not the writer, I'm not the producer, I'm not the director, I'm not any of those things, unfortunately. I'm just a small YouTuber. Those are my thoughts on the franchise. I recommend you buy it on a DVD collection set. For instance, I bought a collection set of Godzilla and Pacific Rim. I don't think it's warranted for a solo DVD or Blu-ray. I mean, if there's a Blu-ray collection pack like that, get it on Blu-ray. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Godzilla 2015, and what are your thoughts of the franchise so far? If you like what you saw, like it. If you think other people will like it, share it. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and live your imagination.